Welcome back for our final episode of Six Rotations in this season. I'm Daniel Gilman. He's Mick Haley. And wow, what a perfect end to what has been such a chaotic, intense, phenomenally entertaining season. Mick was up in Columbus. We're both kind of in the midst of traveling, doing a bit of a remote style episode. You see Mick over there in his car. Are you driving from Columbus back to Texas? What's going on?
Actually, I'm driving from Columbus to Michigan.
Hey.
My wife's family's in Michigan. We're going to spend Christmas in Michigan, and this is always an experience. So,
yeah. So you'll have to excuse our visuals. You know, I was really hoping I'd be able to make it to Columbus, but there were some family situations. I'm down here in Florida, but I got a lot of messages from our fans wondering where I was, hoping to meet me, and you know, of course, meeting you and everything. So I can go ahead and say I'm guaranteeing Omaha, December 2022. I'll be there. We'll be able to put it together some content for the next Final Four. But Mick, let's jump right into it. Wisconsin, Nebraska, the all Big Ten final. It lived up to the hype. 5 sets. Wisconsin jumped out to a field goal advantage in that 5th set. And the visuals of Dana Rettke, I'm going to put it up right now. Dana Rettke seeing that trophy and finally realizing her 5-year dream, it gave me goosebumps. I couldn't be happier for Kelly Sheffield and that team.
Yeah, and boy, it could have been anybody because Nebraska came out of nowhere and changed their offense, changed their players, kept their team together, and wow, what a finish for those kids. A coaching staff for Nebraska has got to be really, really proud. Coaching staff for Wisconsin has got to be just phenomenally excited for all the hard work that they've gone through the last couple of years to try to make this happen.
So let's work our way forward, and then I'll hear your thoughts on that championship. First, though, the semifinals. Wisconsin and Louisville may have been the most highly anticipated Final Four single semifinal match in what, the last 5 years, at least since I started covering college volleyball. Has there been a bigger match in your mind, and did it live up to that hype in that 5-setter win?
I've seen almost all the matches, and I don't think I've ever seen a match like that. And yeah, it lived up to its hype. I don't know how the coaches handled that. There were 12 kids, 14 kids playing as hard as you've ever seen 14 kids play.
Yeah, you got to tip your cap, right? Danny Busboom-Kelly named the AVCA Coach of the Year. Louisville finishes their season at 32-1, and they lost the first set by 2 points. They then smoke Wisconsin in the second set, 25-15. Wisconsin comes back in the third, 25-21. Then that 4th set, and I don't know, for a set that didn't go to extra points, that may have been the most exciting set of the season between Louisville and Wisconsin. 2 teams going back and forth. Louisville took a 20-18 lead. Wisconsin picked up 3 straight points. They were creeping towards the national championship match, 21-20. Louisville takes a 22-21 lead. Wisconsin ties it up 22-all, 23-all, 24-23. And then how about an ace by Rush to finish it off for Louisville before Wisconsin really separated themselves? I mean, I got a stat here, and this was an incredible one. In 1982, Stanford won back-to-back 5-set matches in the Final Four and the championship. It also happened in 81 with Hawaii, but it hasn't happened since 82 until this year that a team went back-to-back 5-setters in the semifinal and the championship. Talk about stamina, right?
Yeah. And the length of the rallies, that's the other thing that people haven't talked about, but it wasn't side out, first ball, side out here. It was back and forth each rally. The length of the matches was phenomenal because of the length of the rallies and coverages and all the little things in the game were played well by both teams. And just, people were just on the edge of their seats the whole time. I just can't imagine what it was like to be a player in that match. I mean, lifetime experience.
Yeah, and then maybe the point of the tournament and the point of the Final Four for sure was at 23-22 in the fourth, where it was cover after cover. I don't know if you specifically remember that one, Mick, but it was an amazing cover somehow by Louisville, and then Wisconsin, and then they call that over the plane on the Louisville SmackDown, and it was, I mean, Paul and Salima were phenomenal. It was so great to have them kind of on site and really covering it as close and personal, as opposed to last in the April when they were a little bit more disengaged to the action. But it was a fraction, and it was nice to see the ball not lie and Louisville take that fourth set. How about over to the other side, the nightcap? I did notice there weren't as many fans for that Nebraska-Pittsburgh match. Did you see the leaving of a lot of the Louisville fans, or maybe Wisconsin, or a mixture?
Well, yeah, I do think they left. Some of them left, but it was so late at night, and they started at 8 o'clock and didn't get going, I mean, until 10. And some people did get up and leave. I think they were also calling their friends to say, get on a bus and get down here for Saturday. You don't want to miss this. But it didn't diminish the match at all. The biggest thing, I should have caught this, and I didn't. When Pittsburgh played so good the week before, teams will max out at a certain point in the tournament. Coaches always want them to max out in the last match they play. But Pittsburgh maxed out the week before and came back and tried to regain that again, and they couldn't do it. And they, an experienced coach that's been through it might have caught this. I didn't even catch it. We're here on the air, but I would have warned against errors the next week, because swinging for the fences like they were the week before really got them there, and then coming in and swinging for the fences hurt them with the errors this time.
So you say that, but on the flip side, I mean, I know Pittsburgh fans watching are Mick, we dominated that first set, right? I mean, they jumped out to a 21-14 lead in that opening set in a heavily Nebraska fanned nationwide arena. Sorry, battling a little bit of a cough here, but Pittsburgh took that first set 25-16, and then they couldn't really eclipse that 22-point stature for the next three sets. Up close and personal, right? Hold on, I want to ask you this, Mick. Up close and personal, you saw Nebraska in Austin, right? It was in Nebraska against Texas earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah.
And then now you see them at the end of the year. What's the biggest differences between, I guess, the young, the Batenhorst, excuse me, and the Krause and the Rodriguez moved forward into now?
Yeah, I just think their maturity. The biggest thing for Nebraska is they came together late, and they were kind of faking that in the middle of the season, trying to figure out their roles and that sort of thing. But they really came together late. They changed the set trajectories, I believe, a little bit. I thought the setter Haynes really hung in there, having to do some different things. The young kids just kept getting better. And I think you have to give Stivrins and the left side, I'm sorry, I've lost her name.
Well, you got Batenhorst, Krause, and Kubik.
Kubik, and
she was superstar level this weekend.
With the leaders along with Haynes, and they really brought those young kids along. No fear. I mean, they had no fear. They just played, and but like I said, the freshmen don't know what they don't know, and they just played as if they should win. And it was so consistent. But the thing that hurt Pittsburgh was the Nebraska block really got on them. And that's why I said swinging away probably wasn't the best way to handle that block. They needed to chip at it, chop it, tip, and move them around, get those Nebraska kids on the floor.
10 blocks for Nebraska against Pittsburgh. But I'll tell you what, again, it was that cover. If there was a stat, when can we get a stat for covers? Because it was unbelievable, the back line and the front line for Nebraska in that match. It felt like Pittsburgh could have had 25 blocks, if not for the amount of covers for Nebraska. And then, moving on into that championship, what was the atmosphere like, right? Walk me through a little bit of the convention feel for the fans that didn't quite make it, maybe a little bit of a convincing edge for all of us that want to go next year.
Well, this was one you shouldn't have ever missed, because this place filled up I mean, it was full, and the suites were full. The most amazing thing is this was like a Lakers playoff game or something at Staples. I mean, Nationwide Arena was full, and fans were anticipating a match, and boy, they got their money's worth, and there wasn't a dull moment in the whole thing. Play after play after play, comebacks, groans, and then great plays. And I went to 3 different suites, sat in 2 different seats, different places in the arena, and I didn't find a bad view anywhere. I would think you would want to capture this and take it to Omaha. You know, they have a similar arena there. You need to get your tickets early, because if the teams play in any level close to this, it is a sporting event that you do not want to miss. And if television didn't catch this, I don't know what the ratings were, but I'm telling you what.
I was going to say, no, a lot of people have asked, and that's not something we're going to find out right now. It's going to be a little bit down the road that we'll get that, and make sure to tune in on Twitter at 6 Rotations. We'll be able to push everything. We won't have episodes this offseason, but we'll keep creating content over on Twitter. Go ahead.
Well, that's good, because that's one of the things. But Danielle, it was just a great sporting event. The convention also to go with it with the coaches was like old home week. It was like, gosh, I haven't seen you in 2.5 years kind of thing. And everybody was in different corners talking, and the presentations were from the heart on the courts, and the effort by Kathy DeBoer, the executive director of AVCA, and the NC2A. You know, you couldn't come for the Fan Fest. The Fan Fest was really fun. I had Wisconsin people, Nebraska people, Pittsburgh people, all right there in the same room. And we were giving away mini balls and jabbing people a little bit. They were getting after me. And I had Jenny Hazelwood with me, and Kirsten from Creighton was there helping out, and we had a lot of fun. I mean, we just had fun with the fans in every which way. There were so many things for everybody to do that it was a week well spent.
No, it looked incredible, and I was definitely jealous down here watching in Florida. But let's jump into it, right? 18,755 in attendance to watch this 5-setter, and right off the bat, it was all Huskers, right? Nebraska took the first set 25-22. They were hitting about even right in that 170s mark, but the block dominated by Wisconsin. Nebraska was able to take care of their assignments, I would say, in that opening set and a half, but a storming second set back. Walk me through what you saw, because Nebraska takes a 5-1 lead in the second set, and then the entire match swings on a run midway through. Nebraska's up 13-7. Wisconsin takes a 4-0 run, and had they not pulled a little closer, I think it would have been Nebraska in 3 or 4 sets. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, it was possible. There were so many individual plays that could have taken it either way. The thing that I found, these fans at the Fan Fest were jabbing me about not supporting this team or that team, and I was having fun with it. So I sat down and did the numbers, because they were trying to get me to pick. So I said, here's what the numbers say. And I said, oh my gosh, they're even right now. Both teams are playing at a certain level. And Nebraska actually out-hit the potent Wisconsin team. But Wisconsin put a block party on these guys. And I've never seen so many rejections in my life in women's volleyball. This was more like a men's match men's match with rallies. That's the way I would categorize the second set on, because Wisconsin fought back, and they did it with their block for most of the rest of the match. Nebraska never quit swinging. They kept coming. It was just an unbelievably fun match. There's no point where the coaches or the players didn't do something well, and if they didn't, they made up for it very quickly.
Well,
that's how yeah, go ahead. Well, the second set was just like that. I can't pick out any individual play or change there, because I was like Redkey. I had my mouth open going, oh oh, kind of thing.
It was great. And you could hear it, the fans, even the ones that may have been rooting for Nebraska, gasping in incredible plays by Wisconsin and vice versa. And, Nebraska took a 2018 lead and Wisconsin on a 3-0 run, aided by a Retke and Loberg block. They took a 21-20 lead. Then it was 22-all, 23-all, 24-23. So Nebraska had the first set point of the second set. Maddie Kubik service error, 24-all. Sydney Hilly service error, 25-24, right? It was contagious. Go ahead.
Double groans by the fans. oh, but that happens because both teams are going for it. They didn't lollipop that ball over there. And I think both kids were surprised. Hilly actually missed worse than Kubik did.
Kubik, yeah.
But she was going for it. It was flat. It was hard. It was difficult.
So 25-24, big block by Orgel and Robinson. Wisconsin got their first set point with the Jade Demps kill, but Caffey comes right back, 26-all. Devin Robinson makes it 27-26 Wisconsin. Caffey and then the Knuckles ace give Nebraska again their third set point at 28-27. Just reliving this, it was so much fun to watch. If you haven't or want to go back, there are archives, right? The ESPN website, you can go to the replay, watch the match over again on watchespn.com. Grace Loberg got a kill to tie it at 28-all. Maddie Kubik got a kill to this is when you met with the Mets. It wasn't long rallies. It was pass, set, kill. Pass, set, kill. It was in system, in chemistry, and then Wisconsin finishes it on that 3-0 run, Retke kill, and then the back-to-back Retke blocks. And we've talked all season long about Dana Retke's emotion and her investment to every match they play, whether it's Rutgers, Maryland, or the national championship. It's such a commendable effort, and I love to watch her play. Wisconsin then takes a late run in the third set to take it 25-23. Let's get a vibe check. Where was Nationwide Arena at the end of the third set when Wisconsin came storming back and led 2-1?
They're just gasping. There were the people that said, okay, it's going to be 3-1. There were the people that said, oh my goodness, this is giving me heart failure. I mean, there were all kinds of emotions going on. Nobody left. The thing is, and some of these matches, you're there for a while, it's getting late, and you know what's going to happen. Nobody knew what was going to happen. And the discussions going on, everybody was talking about the last play, and it was just great. It was volleyball right down to the very best. And if you didn't like that, you just don't want to watch volleyball, because that was just the best.
Well, from 23-20 in that third, Nebraska tied it at 23-all. Then it was Devin Robinson with back-to-back kills, a big dig in the back row. I think it was by Chavita who picked it up in that set point, and then Robinson cleaned it up on the pass by Hilly. Fourth set comes around, and I don't know about you, but I was begging for a fifth. And I was wondering, do you think that a lot of the neutral fans were hoping for a fifth, or were hoping for that first Wisconsin championship?
No, I think they wanted to keep playing. I think it was so much fun watching, and the players were so well conditioned that the quality of play did not decrease. The quality of play stayed at a level, even with Nebraska having all those freshmen. They kept it up. That nobody quit. So I think you wanted to go as long as it could possibly go, because it was an orchestra, and it was being played by both sides of the net and both teams, and it was skillfully done.
I'll tell you what, you go back to September 14th, and I got to be on the radio call for the Stanford-Nebraska match that Stanford really took care of business in 4 sets. And it was a Stanford team that was brand new. They had a couple of newcomers as well, including in that first match. That left side hitter was playing in her first match. But the growth that I got to see from these Huskers freshmen, right? Krause and Batenhorst and Rodriguez. How about Rodriguez? Pivotal. The service run from Lexi Rodriguez, right on that 5-0 run to go from down 17-16 to up 21-17. It was Wisconsin kind of storming back at the end of the fourth set, but Batenhorst cleaned it up 25-23. I'll sneak ahead a little bit before we talk about the fifth. The fifth was a bit of a one-sided affair, but how about neither libero making the all-tournament team, even though they added a seventh spot? That was a little odd to me.
Yeah. The award things, people see things in giving out awards. I'm more of a team guy. I've been asked to be on several All-American selections. I could give you 36 first teamers this year. There have been so many good efforts by the players that I just would probably just give them all a hug, tell you the truth, because they were great. And yeah, you could think that's a little out there, but
it was just weird because, look, this is the all-tournament team. You can see it here. It was Anna Smrek, Dana Redke, Anna DeBeer, Lakater member Monet, Sydney Hilly, Maddie Kubik, and Nicklin Hames. And who are you going to take off of that team, right? Because Smrek had that big final two matches. I think she had somewhere around 30 kills in the final two. 14-28 in this championship for a kid who, had never been in a situation like this. And it's someone that everyone's talking about Orgel, right? All season long, it's Orgel. But, the 6'9" middle out of Ontario, it's crazy to see the skyscrapers come out there every single point, whether it's Redke or Smrek.
Yeah. Louisville didn't plan on Shrek getting 21 kills. And if she doesn't, maybe they don't win. Maybe Louisville wins,
right,
in that semifinal. So she stepped up. She certainly deserves attention for that. And the recommendation was for her to be on the first team. But boy, when kids step up, that's when the games are the best. And we had a ton of people step up. Haynes has gotten a lot of criticism all year, and she stepped up. She led that group without losing any energy. She was more focused the whole time. She wasn't doing big high fives and stuff like that. She was keeping her energy for the next play. And man, oh man, she just stayed with it the whole time. So there were a lot of efforts like that by a lot of kids in those final four teams, and just a special thing.
And then Smrek is the one that started the fifth set with the kill, and then an attack error, another attack error. Dems, it starts to pinfall 4-0, calls a timeout, does Cook. Caffey gets blocked by Redke. Redke, another termination, another block by Redke and Hilly. Wrap up your overall, recap of this game by walking me through what you saw in that fifth set. There was an admirable comeback attempt by Nebraska in that fifth.
That's exactly what I was going to talk about, that comeback attempt. You could have just said, well, we gave it a good try, and they run and put some people in and that sort of thing. Nebraska didn't. They stayed with it. I think one or two differences, things that happened there from 7 on, Nebraska could have gotten back in that. Wisconsin relaxed just for a short second. Nebraska caught it and jumped on it and started to chase. And when they started to chase, Wisconsin felt the heat, and they kept after it. They wanted to celebrate, but they were trying to talk Nebraska out of it, and Nebraska wasn't having any of it. They tried to get back. So you have to give Nebraska credit for that.
Here's the most impressive part to me. The fact that they came back from 7-0 and 9-2. They made it 11-8, but they did it without a crazy long run. They didn't go on a 5-0 run, 6-0 run, 7-0 run. It was a little bursts, right? They 3-0 run from 9-2 to 9-5.
You need
and
the
then
twos and threes. When you get behind like that, you need many runs of 2 or 3. You don't have to have a long one. You'll take the long one if you can get it. But those two or 3 mini runs give you momentum. And Wisconsin could feel the momentum coming, and they could not really shut it off. They were just running like mad to get to 15 first. And it was really quite fun. Even though Nebraska was behind, you felt bad for them that they got that far behind. They didn't feel bad for themselves. They kept after it.
How about 40 block assists? Redke had 13 block assists. Yeah. She had 10 block assists, 13 blocks for Redke, 10 block assists for Robinson, 7 for Smrek, who was named most outstanding player, Orgel with 6, Hilly with 5, and Loberg added 3 as well. The most blocks in a national championship since 2008. And on the flip side, all 5 Nebraska attackers had 10 or more kills. It was, the percentages weren't there, right? The highest hitting player for Nebraska was Caffey at 265, 267. Stivrins hit 222. Kubik took 66 swings. Batenhorst with 41. Krause with 37. And and we're burying the lead, right? I had 15 of my friends that don't watch volleyball who happen to be tuned in texting me about the finish because you think it's over. And I'll tell you what, I even tweeted from the 6 rotations account congratulating Wisconsin, but then wait, the challenge and then the delay and then the overturn, and you keep going, and 14-12 is far from over.
Yeah. I've never seen blocking like that back and forth in women's volleyball. And when you have blocking percentages like that, your hitting percentages go down. I don't really pay too much attention to the percentages, but I do look at the kills. And with Nebraska having 5 hitters, double figures, that kept them in the match. And a lot of people would have given up against that big block, but my goodness, they just kept swinging. It was pretty phenomenal, actually.
I mean, it was. And then it had to be Retke, right? It just had to be Retke to win it for Wisconsin, a name that has been such a staple amongst volleyball houses and families and coaching staffs and teams, and everyone talks. I got into watching and covering college volleyball around the same time that Dana Retke became a freshman and had that lengthy article. She wrote it about herself, about getting bullied because she was too tall growing up. And it was just such a heartwarming story to see her kind of go through there. And it's, I'm not going to, it's such an incredible thing to watch. And I won't say I was rooting for one team over the other, but I'm happy that we could see a little bit of history made as opposed to just another championship for a juggernaut, if that makes sense.
You know what I thought about is growing up in Indiana, we were basketball players and we could talk basketball for years after each game you could remember the plays and the players and who hit what shot. And this volleyball match is a match that I think can be talked about for a lifetime of what each player contributed and the greatness of each one of the players to make a play here and make a play there. I think this one lasts and starts a legacy of collegiate volleyball matches that people want to talk about. We can talk about T. Williams getting 30 kills for Hawaii and losing 3-0 in 1988. And we can talk about a lot of things. But boy, when you talk about this match, you got to talk about the number of blocks, the number of kills, the number of covers, the number of great plays, all in that time period of 3 hours. I mean, it was phenomenal.
So we'll wrap this one up just by going over the AVCA first team All-Americans, just to give you guys an update if you haven't seen them. So we'll put them up now. And it's pretty cool because going through this list, we had interviewed with Bergman, Brambilla, Dilfer, Presley, Lund, and Samity. So we tried to cover as many as we could, here and there. Maybe we could have gotten a little bit more. We wanted to do some liberos. So for Wisconsin, we covered their libero instead of their star players because I thought it was maybe a little bit of a scene that nobody had seen, right? How many interviews has Retke and Hilly done on different shows? And same with Eggleston and Butler. Mac May, of course, gets on that list, as does the superb freshman and veteran combo of Lexi Rodriguez and Anna Stevenson to round out that list, with Danny Drews up in the top right for Utah. Is there one, you know what, it's such a tough thing. You mentioned it earlier, right? You can give 30 first team All-Americans. I'm going to tell you what, there's not one player on this list that I would take off, honestly.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And there are maybe 16 more I could add, honestly. This has been the year of the most phenomenal women's volleyball individual players ever. I don't know if it's because of COVID or the comeback year, but it has been a spectator's dream. A lot of quality players. If you didn't make the first team, you shouldn't feel bad because you're in good company up there with all those people. And the second team actually can feel like they're in that group also. And anybody even was honorable mention, I think this year, every team had had a player almost that we covered anyway that could have made that team. And the best part was they were all playing for their teams. They weren't playing for themselves. And so if you made it because you were trying to make your team great. And wow, just a great year. I'm sorry it's over because
Yeah.
we had fun with this. I mean, we had fun with this every week. And so, thank you for doing this and leading us. And I hope you have a really nice holiday vacation because we spent a lot of time on this.
No, you too, Mick. No, we really appreciate, trust me, the comments, the good and the bad on YouTube have been really fun. Nothing better than seeing people call me out for saying a guess. And, there's so much information that we have to kind of spurt out here. And I love it. It's the best part of this entire show, seeing the people who just nitpick. Because you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. It's the best part of having some sort of, community that builds around creating content. And that's why we started this. The only thing there was beforehand was a couple, 8 minutes on Mondays with Mick over with Lee. So I'm happy that we can kind of create something a little bit more long form, really engage the high IQ volleyball fans. That was our goal here. Really proud to be presented as always by SNA Sports, better equipment for a better game, and to kind of partner with the AVCA to make this all happen. So hopefully, all things considered, we're hoping that next year we can kind of bring the whole team back together, get everything all bells and whistles and oil the rust and make sure that we are running smooth, plan early for the Final Four, get a booth or some sort of live show going for 6 rotations in Omaha. That's the long-term goal. So if any of you guys want to help us out, reach out to us, email me at gilmandaniel@gmail.com or just message us on Twitter at 6 rotations. But that'll wrap things up, Mick. It was a phenomenal season. Congratulations to the first-time champions, back-to-back years for a first-time champion, Kentucky in the spring, Wisconsin in the fall. And until 2022, I'm Daniel Gilman. He's Mick Haley, wishing you a very happy holidays, a happy new year, and a very, very relaxed offseason to all you coaches and players watching. Good luck next year. We'll talk to you guys soon. This is 6 Rotations.